Welcome once again to your update from the city of New Hope, and the mayor is with us, Kathi Hemken. Welcome again, Mayor. How are you today?
Dave, just fine. What a gorgeous day.
Yes, it is beautiful. We've got a lot to talk about in the city, so get ready. And a few mentions of the website, and at the very end, some calendar of events, things coming up. And there's a lot on the schedule. Let's begin with West Metro Fire Department and talk a little bit about burning rules right now because of the lack of rain. What are they saying? How are they helping out residents?
Well, this is not a real good time to be burning stuff, but if you want to have a fire in your backyard, make sure you're using a good fire pit with a cover on it so that you can kind of keep those sparks down. You're not allowed to burn any of your yard waste, any construction materials, no household things, only burn dried wood. And be very, very careful. Have a hose nearby that you can put it out. All fires have to be out by 11 o'clock. Have to be 25 feet from a structure, so you're not going to start anything on fire. And if the wind is over 7 miles an hour, oh, don't even think about burning. So
Mhm.
just be real careful. I know fall's the time that people want to have outdoor fires, but we really don't want your house to burn down either.
Makes sense. And again, a lot of information on the cities and the West Metro's website as well. Community development, we've been following the progress at Windsor Ridge. What is the latest count? Things look like they're going very well.
They are 32 houses was the original plan, and it still is. 22 of them have been built and sold for an average price of 420. So there's 10 that are either pending a sale or in the process of being built. So we're going to finish up this project by the end of the year. It's on 52nd in Pennsylvania. If you want to just swing by and take a look, it's really gorgeous.
It is spectacular. Community development, a few items here. First of all, the Planning Commission, a little bit of activity for them with a bus involved. What are they going to be doing?
Well, the city has a bus tour for all the commissioners. We've got a planning commission and a citizens advisory commission and a human rights commission. And so we invite all those commissioners who are non-paid volunteers to go on a bus tour so they can see all the things that are going on in the city. So the other thing about the planning commission is we're looking for a couple people on that commission. So if you're interested, they meet once a month, and then there's usually like a sub meeting once again in the month, so a couple times during the month. It's non-paid, but you really get a good idea of what's going on in the city, and it's actually kind of fun.
City's website, newhopemn.gov, the place you can find out more about how to apply. Food Truck Friday, we wanted to recap as the last one unfortunately got rained out because of the weather, but you want some feedback from residents. Tell us what you're looking for here about food trucks.
For those that don't know, we had something called Food Truck Friday. This was the first year we've tried that. So if you went to the Friday food truck event and you were pleased with it, please let us know either by sending a note to City Hall or calling up City Hall and just telling somebody in community development that you were pleased with it or that you weren't. We're going to start evaluating whether it makes sense to do it again next year. We'd really like to, but we'd like some feedback from people.
Next item is housing values. And if you like numbers, here's your chance to hear a few numbers from the mayor. What did you find of interest in this chart that we have about housing values?
Well, what's interesting to me is the assessors do the housing evaluation for 19 payable and 20 taxes payable in 20 and 20 payable in 21. The houses between 200,000 and 300,000 are at about 81% in New Hope, and they did not change from 19. The percentage. What did change though is the 200 to 250 is now the smaller number, and the 250 to 300 is the bigger number. But
Mhm.
basically, the two have not changed. So 81% of the houses in New Hope are between 200 and 300,000.
Very interesting. Speaking of housing, let's talk about scattered site. We've been keeping residents up to date here. There was a property the city was looking at, but there was other interest as well, I understand.
It was. We have a matrix in which we go by when we buy some of these houses, because our thing is we're going to buy the house, tear it down, and sell it to a developer. Well, so there was a house on 36th and Louisiana that we made a bid on for 155. We were actually outbid by an investor, and since this was a foreclosure, it was a sheriff's sale. So the Hennepin County will now refund us the 155,000 plus any interest, plus any expenses that we incurred with that. So we will not be buying that house.
Let's move ahead to the police department. A few items to update residents on here. The first is we mentioned last time we were together that there are a few positions open, and now we have some people interested. What are those numbers?
Well, the community service officer, that position, there were 26 applicants as of this morning, this morning being Tuesday. So that closes at noon, and by the time we're doing this, it's already closed, and I'm assuming there won't be too many more than 26 applicants.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 70 for the full-time police clerk position. Now what happens is human resources will look at those applications, sort them out, decide who gets an interview, and then we'll start the interview process.
Very good. We'll keep people up to date on that. Now to Public Works, a little bit of some of the highlights of what they are up to. And one thing is a new speed limit sign that might be on a spot that you drive by. Why has this change been made?
Well, we've been getting a lot of comments from people on Winnetka that the traffic is just going too fast. Now that we fixed the railroad tracks, people are just flying over them.
Sure.
So the police department requested a new speed limit sign. So you'll see that up on Winnetka. Be careful, read the sign, and try to stay within that limit, because there'll be a traffic cop out there too to accompany the sign, I'm sure.
Public Works as well, busy pumping some water out of a park. How did that process go?
It's Civic Center Park. We put in a new park a couple of years ago. And there's always been, from the old park, there's always been a tube or a pipe underneath the park to get the water out of there. For some reason, with the new park in there, it has clogged up. And so they tried to unclog the pipe, and it just clogged up again. And so they're going to have to replace the pipe and put a different kind of filter in there. So that's going to happen. We know what's happening. So what happened with this time is Public Works went out to pump the water out so that at least the kids can use the playground.
Sure.
But we will be digging that up and putting in a new pipe. It's not a new pipe that's failed. It's a 10-year-old pipe that we didn't replace because we didn't think we need to, but looks like we do.
Okay. Graffiti at the park, something we've talked about throughout the summer, and it looks like that continues to be a problem, and you had a few thoughts to pass along about that.
Well, I do. You know, if you're watching this, please talk to your children and your grandchildren about how much money it costs the city to remove that graffiti. It might seem like a good idea at the time when you're writing on the wall with paint, but it takes our public works guys quite a bit of time to take that off. That's time they can be spending on trimming trees or cleaning up the city, doing other things. So please, no more writing on walls, benches, sidewalks. It just doesn't enhance the view of the city at all.
Let's head over to the water tower. I understand some cleaning inside and out. How's that process going, and why is that necessary?
Well, I'm not sure exactly about cleaning the inside, whether it's the base that's being cleaned inside, or if it's the inside of where the water is.
Got it.
But so there, I'm thinking it's the base that's being cleaned.
Okay.
So they go in and they power wash that every now and then because it just gets kind of gunky. They want it to look pretty.
Very good. All right. So that work being done. All right. Out to the streets. A few updates for residents here. 38th in Oregon. We've been following the progress there. Where are we this week?
Oh, those poor people. You know, whenever we do a street project, there's always some glitches in it. And this one has had some glitches. Mm-hmm. So of course we had to repair some water main breaks. We knew we'd have to do that. But then there was a valve right off of 42nd that needed to repair. All that is repaired. Good. Now, they were supposed to start last week and it rained. So they can put that off. So I'm thinking they'll start this week. We'll get it paved sooner or later. But you do have to know two things. They put the pavement on, and it's not a final coat. That final coat will come on in the spring. So if it looks like it's a little bit short of the curbing, that's my intention. But it will get paved, and we'll get that all figured out pretty soon. The other thing is when they dig up the streets like that, a lot of the grass gets ruined. That will be fixed, but not till September. We've got to let the temperature get down a little bit, and we got to have some water to water this stuff. So It will get fixed, but it just doesn't get fixed until it gets a little cooler.
It makes sense. Meadow Lake Pilot Rain Garden Grant. How is that grant moving along? What are the next steps the city is taking there?
Well, Hennepin County is paying for this entirely, and they gave the city money to put a rain garden in. And actually, we're putting the rain garden on private property with an agreement with the property owner that they will maintain that rain garden. So the other part of that is the city water, the water that runs down the street it's public water, will go into that rain garden before it goes into Meadow Lake. So it's a nice collaboration between the county, a citizen, and the streets. So they'll start to excavate that this week sometime.
Good. We'll keep residents up to date of how that goes. Final note about the streets is Northwood Parkway and 36 and a half Circle. What's the latest news there?
Well, those guys they went through this construction a year ago. So now they had a few warranty issues that the person that put the stuff in had to go back and fix. Those warranty issues have been fixed. So they'll be putting their final wear coat on sometime in the next week or so.
Now to Park and Rec, let's talk about some of the fun things happening in the city. And it is registration time for fall classes. How is that process moving along?
Well, apparently it's moving along really, really well.
Good.
One of the things that they're just having a real strong support is of the adult pickleball classes. So you can get all of this information in motion. It'll tell you where to go to sign up, how much it costs to sign up, and how to do that. But sign up for that now. The other thing they're doing is they're starting to schedule the community gyms, which means we need attendance for those community gyms. So there's applications for jobs for attendance. And this I hate to say, but they're also looking for warming house attendance.
Oh my.
In the winter.
Right.
So if you think you want to be a warming house attendant, now's the time to apply.
All right, city's website, newhopemn.gov, to find out more about those job possibilities. Quick run over the golf course, ice arena, and aquatic park. First, the golf course. How's the fall season stepping into gear?
Good. The normal summer leagues are done. Fall leagues have started, but there's a lot of open tee times. So you have to call, of course, and get a tee time. I wouldn't just show up just in case. Mm-hmm. But the course is beautiful, and it looks really, really nice. And the geese are starting to form up. So I think they're going to be flying away soon.
Okay.
We won't have goose stuff to worry about.
All right. Added benefit of fall golf as well, right?
Yeah. And the ice arenas, they're starting to put in the skylights on the south rink. So those, you'll see some activity going on there. On the north rink, they're still holding the clinics that they have, and they're doing some for the AAA skaters. They're still doing some teams and some tournaments for them.
And finally, to the pool, even though the season is done, still some work to be done there. How's the cleanup process going?
It's going. We made the guy that was taking care of the pool take a couple of days off because he certainly needed that.
Yes.
So there's just a lot of stuff to be put away, greased up, shined up. The pool is not open. It's drained as best I know. And so they've just got all that work to do. You'll see people working in there. They're not trying to reopen it again for the fall.
All right.
But it'll be reopened in the summer.
Well,
we had a wonderful season at the pool.
Yeah, definitely a big hit this year. I'm sure people will be waiting for it to open next year. On to human relations. Just one note here, internal applications related to the stormwater specialist project coordinator position. I understand nothing there, so now it goes public. Is that correct?
Yes. What happens is when we post a job, we post it internally, and we have to have 2 internal candidates that are qualified for that. If we do not get 2 internal candidates, then we go externally, and it'll just be on a normal website. So they can, if somebody's interested in doing that, they have an interest in water, apply. We could use you. You have until the 20th of September to get that application in.
All right. And again, that information on the website. Speaking of the website, you wanted to pass along some information that's on the website about scams. Tell us about some of what you're hearing and your alert to residents.
So the latest scam is a Social Security scam. And they call you up and tell you that they're going to you have to pay money, and they want you to pay the money by a gift card, no less. Oh, I know, they don't want cash. Mm-hmm. You can't just send it to Social Security. That's a scam. Social Security never calls you up. They'll send you an official letter in the mail, but they're telling people they're going to be put in jail. They're going to cut off their Social Security. None of that is happening. So if somebody calls you and said they're from the Social Security office, please just hang up the phone. Don't listen to the pitch. Don't try to argue with them. Just hang up the phone. I would hate to see another person lose money from one of these scams.
All right. Final note, we want to pass along some updates on events that are coming up in the city of New Hope, and you've got a full list there. So take us through it. What should we attend in the coming weeks?
I do have a full list, and actually, I have to show it to you.
All right, fair enough.
There's so many things. So on the 14th of September at 11 o'clock, 11 to 12, they're having bingo in the park, and that's free. So that's at Civic Center Park. Bring a chair to sit on. There'll be some picnic tables, but probably not enough. So bring a chair so you can play bingo for free, and there'll be some prizes. It's sponsored by, I didn't get the name of who's sponsoring that, but you'll find that out when you get there.
Great.
On the 15th, the next day from 11:30 to 12:30 is the Friddly Band, and they're playing some good German music for an hour. Again, a free concert. Bring a chair. You'll see it in the Performance Center, so we won't be under the pavilion on that one. We'll be facing the Performance Center.
Okay.
But that's a free thing on the 15th. On the 18th of September is the Vehicle Fair. That's from 10 to 12, and that's at the Crystal Community Center. Mm-hmm. And that's when all of the cities bring their vehicles. CCX brings a vehicle. You let kids do a little on-screen stuff. So it's really fun, and the kids really like doing that. Again, another free event. On the 25th of September, they're doing a fourth movies in the park called Toy Story 4. A free event, that starts at 7 o'clock. It's sponsored by the Women of Today. Again, bring a chair, and they will be selling snacks, I believe, at that movie. That morning, if you get up early enough, is the farmer's market. The 25th of September is the last day of the farmer's market. Okay. You don't need a chair for the farmer's market. You can just show up with your bag and buy stuff.
Very good.
So then we're moving into October, and this is just so you have an idea of what's going on. October 1st, you have to have the results from the survey in. So if you didn't fill out the survey online or the one that's sitting on your kitchen table, mail it in. You can also go into City Hall and get a copy of that survey and fill it out. We're reading every single survey that comes in. We're reading all the comments. It really does give us a good idea on how we should do our programming for next year. So then on the 5th, I got a little note from Northridge, the residents. It said they're having a Coats for Kids drive on the 5th of October, and that's 3:30 to 6. If you bring in a slightly used or new coat for a kid, they'll give you a prepared meal for two.
Very nice.
And if you don't have a coat, they'll still give you a prepared meal for two.
Well, that's very nice as well.
So that's on the 5th of October from 3:30 to 6.
Okay.
And everybody knows where Northridge is, right? I'm born in about 52nd, something like that. On the 9th of October is City Days. So that's when all of the city departments set up booths in the street, and you can come and see what those different departments do. There's also a waffle breakfast at station number 3, the fire station. Now, there's a cost for the waffle breakfast, but there is no cost for City Days. Mm-hmm. So go buy breakfast, walk over to City Days, find out what's going on in your city and how much fun we're having. And then on the 15th, the last thing I'm going to tell you about, the 15th is the last day for the photo contest. Okay. So be out there taking photos, only one photo per person, and the categories are people, nature, and landmarks. You have to live in New Hope, and the pictures have to be taken from a place in New Hope. Okay. So one picture, and there's a category for the under 18.
Very good.
A separate category, and there's a People's Choice category. So after the 15th of October, we'll start showing the pictures, and you'll be able to see them at City Hall or various places around town.
Very neat. Yeah, great annual event for the community. That's enough.
That's all I have.
You've got a lot there. And if you couldn't jot it down that fast, you can always go to In Motion, and that is a place with a lot of that information. Or, of course, the city's website. You can connect to In Motion there. That is at newhopemn.gov. Mayor, thanks once again for your time. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day, and we'll look to talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Dave.
Learn more about The Connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.